Who has the most expensive car collection, literally or metaphorically? Is it Jay Leno, the Stradman, or will it be me? I've always wanted to price tag every vehicle altogether that I'd ever want to own or that I'd ever think about ever purchasing if all of a sudden I won, the $1 billion lottery or however high it is now, who even knows? Or if I ever got that, Monopoly scratcher from McDonald's that said, hey, you won free French fries forever. And I just take those French fries and I would just sell those French fries. And then, just oodles of cash right there. You sell them for pennies on the dollar. However, I do not own any of the cars that I eventually want to have, but I thought it would be interesting if we play a little game on this channel. And how it's going to work is I'm here, Kevin's here.
Hi, Kevin.
He's going to help me out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run off every single vehicle that would be in my dream car garage or that I'd plan or anticipate to own. I'm going to guess at what that vehicle would cost to own right now, and then Kevin's going to correct me and let me know actually what it would cost to get that in my dream car garage. And then at the very end, we're going to subtotal that out and see what it would cost to have my actual dream car garage. Now, there's quite a few cars on this list, so we might be breaking this up into multiple videos. And today we're going to start with my favorite, the Japanese girls of the bunch. Any Japanese made JDM or foreign market car, being Hyundai, Acura, Toyota, so on and so forth. We will not be doing European cars today or American made cars. Those will be in future videos. And then at the very end of this series, we're going to subtotal it up and see maybe if that beats like the Stradman or like maybe Kevin O'Leary or whoever of these other successful people who have multiple car collections. And maybe we'll continue the series from there, comparing my fictional car collection to their real one and see who has more expensive tastes. And to start off today, we're going to start off with the 95 Acura Integra. This one personally has a soft spot in my heart because this was one of the first vehicles that I purchased. I actually got in a pretty bad accident in this car. I tumbled right down the side of a highway in this vehicle. Won't go into too much details, but I've always wanted to get that car back because it's just one of those few cars that I would still be driving to this day more than 10 years later if I hadn't had that accident. So the 95 Acura Integra, when I bought it as one of my first cars, I got it for $900 in 2014. I got it for $900. Today's money, I think that I could get, especially with how crazy the used car market has gone, I think I could get it for decent miles, everything across the board average. I'd say about $6,000. Say $6,000 would get me the one that belongs in my dream car garage. And actually, so according to Kelley Blue Book, it would only cost me $2,500 to have it in my dream car garage. That's BS, but I guess our motto is going off the Kelley Blue Book cost, so that's the Kelley Blue Book cost, $2,500. That's nonsense. You go on OfferUp right now, type in 95 Integra on OfferUp. I guarantee you the first option with 200,000 miles is gonna be like $5,000. It's gonna be, yeah, that's nonsense. We'll use it for Kelley Blue Book's purposes because I guess fictionally, if I have enough money to have this dream car garage or whatever, if I did find one for $2,500, it's probably beat to crap and I'd fix it. So I guess it could apply. Whatever. Moving on to the next one. So the next one is going to be one you would expect on this list, just like with any other like YouTuber or anybody. They're just like, I want a Lamborghini Huracan. I want a Ferrari 488. I want a Land Rover, Range Rover, whatever. All those typical cars. Well, for most car guy channels or for most car people, that common car, that Enzo Ferrari for car people is the MK4 Supra. That it literally brings this meme. Is what this meme is from.
A Supra?
Oh my God, is a Supra in the back?
Dude, is this a Supra?
Wow! Is that a Supra?
Dude, is it a Supra?
And for the MK4 Supra, being that it's such a sought after vehicle, I'm not doing it because of the cloud or wanting it because of the cloud. It genuinely is a beautiful vehicle. It's a great car. If I were able to have it, unlike a lot of the cars on this list, I wouldn't modify it. I wouldn't do anything different to it. I'd want it to be as pristine as possible because being that the used car market has changed, I would think that that vehicle going forward will just continue to appreciate in value, and people will continue to appreciate it. And especially with it being completely like, you know, non-modified and just looking like a great looking vehicle, I would love to have it. And to have it, I think I'd have to spend about $40,000 to $50,000 for an MK4 Supra today. But as we've already experienced with Kelly Blue Book, that might not be the case. So the real cost of an MK4 Supra is, so again, undercutting me, $34,000 according to Kelly Blue Book. I can agree with that. I think that's about where I think I could find one. Yeah, middling. I'm getting from Kevin, middling about where you could get it from. If you pulled up OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, private seller, Car Gurus, you could probably find one for $34,000. It might not be in the best condition. It might have some wear and tear. It might have some items that would need some real attention and some money thrown at it. But I guess that's not a bad price. So $34,000 as opposed to my $50,000. That's great. It's going on the tally. It's going here. So we're about, you know, $36,000 to $37,000 in, and, you know, let's keep it going. So on to the third one. So the AP2 S2K from Honda ran from 2003 to 2009. And it was the more improved version of the Honda S2K versus the AP1, which was a little more brittle, a little rougher of a ride, and just altogether just wasn't where the car needed to be manufactured. Again, this is another vehicle that just has like a tender place in my heart. When I first started getting into cars, the AP2 S2K was the car that turned my head the most. It wasn't the Huracans or the, you know, the Aventador, Murcielago. There you go. It's like, you know, when other kids had posters of the Murcielago in their house, like all I was dreaming about was the S2K. So this is like the epitome of like the dream car for me. It's not the fastest car, it's not the most expensive car, and it's definitely not even the car that's the most, like, you know, foreign Italian vehicle. No, it's just a Honda coupe car, and it's honestly, like, I've driven one, I've got behind the wheel. It's not even the best handling car. Like, it's not even the most fun to drive, but there's something about it that is, to me, the most fun to drive.
Too soon, Junior.
It doesn't go very fast. It's not like crazy, you know, crazy hitting corners in that Geo Metro, super crazy, but it's a beautiful car. It's great. You modify it, you don't, you turbo it or you don't, you put, you know, just aftermarket career-ending parts in it, or you don't, it still looks amazing. I'm thinking right now, I know this is wrong. I'm not even gonna look at the price at all, like after for a few seconds, because I'm almost doubtful that Kelly Blue Book has what is really going on with the AP2. But I'm saying $12,000 to get a decent AP2. $12,000, because I remember the last time I was looking for a car, and this was in 2022, the AP2 was going for about $12,000 for a decent one. Now it goes for $31,000 from California Auto Exchange. But anyways, the real price is $22,000. I wasn't far off. I was right that it doubled. It is no longer $12,000. It's a pipe dream to think it was ever $12,000. But I expected as much, and it is anticipated that I think that will go up, because definitely a lot of younger kids who you know, are able to kind of purchase that, or able to like get it financed or whatever, or, you know, daddy helps out, you know, just buys a cash for them, whatever. It's like they're just wrapping them around trees as fast as they get them. I can't tell you how many AP2s I've personally seen crash. I was working at a car dealership when one of our porters wrapped the S2K around a pole that they just traded in, and I was thinking about purchasing it. The day we got it, they destroyed it, and those guys weren't even fired. But it's kind of evident of the fact that it's like, you know, people get behind the S2K and they just think it's just some Porsche or whatever. They think that it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna ride the heck out of this thing. It's a delicate vehicle. It's not a crazy sports car. It's a cruiser. It's, you know, it's a car with a lot of character. You just can't treat it like that, because, and we see why not, because people just non-stop have just been ruining these cars, driving the price up because there's less and less on the market. But $22,000, wow, that is a pretty big hit. I think we're close to 100,000 on the markers so far, if we haven't passed it already. But so moving on to the 91 Toyota Celica GT. This one is a little weird, and my producer Kevin might not like my reason behind this one. But I actually really like this car. I kind of fell in love with this car not even driving it. I fell in love with this car being a passenger. in when my producer Kevin had this vehicle. He had it for a very short amount of time before he got a knock in the engine and a knock on the door from Jesus Christ, telling him to repent from his sins.
Are you prepared for Jehovah's return? Because if you're not, I have a pamphlet for that.
Then he got a Toyota Solara, and then he. So, but I don't know. There's something about the Toyota Celica GT. The thing, if you've seen this vehicle, which a lot of you have, but unfortunately, the ones that you've seen around town, the bumper sagging, there's like a hole punched in the door. Like it's the international staple two-door for like the crackhead community. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I don't know why it is. Like if you drive through Southern California, you'll see 1,000 of them where people were smoking rocks out of them. When I was working for an auto parts store and I was driving in their delivery vehicle, I saw somebody with illicit substances. Sorry, YouTube. I'm being serious. I'm dead serious. This was in SB. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. This was in SB in Southern California, and it's the place for it. And this person was cooking up rocks while operating a Celica GT with the windows blown out. Like the windows were like it's not, they weren't down, they were gone. I don't know why it is, but I want to be, if not one of the only people to preserve this vehicle, because it sounds like they're on their way to being non-existent. So that being said, I think this vehicle would go for decently priced, because I think it's really undervalued and like really underappreciated. I would say probably about 3,400. I say I could get a decent one for 3,400. Let's see what Kelly Blue Book has to say. That's different. That's two very different numbers right there. So it says from 2,500 to 94,000? No, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't. We're gonna go 2,500. That's what we're gonna say. We're gonna say 2,500. Where I was at, 3,000, 2,500, 3,000. I'm sure. I'm confident. 3,000 on Facebook Marketplace. You're gonna get one that's not beat to crap. It'll have a lot of miles, but it'll be fine. $94,000. I hope he includes a screenshot of that screen in the video, because you just have to see the proof in the pudding that Google thought $94,000 was what it was gonna. I don't even know what for one with like 8 miles. Maybe even then I wouldn't pay that much. I wouldn't pay that much for like a F40 with 8 miles. I wouldn't pay $94,000. Next one on this list is gonna be the EK9 Honda Civic Type R, a beautiful vehicle. I mean, if you're involved in the car community at all, you're gonna love this car. Like even if you hate Hondas, you like this car. You're like, hey, that's a pretty sweet ride. That's cool. This guy pulls mad men with this car. All the homies are coming around the vehicle being like, oh my God, let me go for a test drive. Oh my goodness, let me get in the driver's seat. But in this vehicle, it's actually the passenger seat because it's right-hand drive. It's so cute. Like, yeah, and I've never met an EK9 Type R that I didn't like. I've even met like US built EK9s or EK9 bodies or just Honda Civic EKs that were swapped. Like some dude did a conversion. I met at a meet. He did a conversion on it. Beautiful. It looked fantastic. These cars just look great. OEM as heck, rolling down the road. I had a video of one. If I find it, I'll include it here, of it just passing me up on the freeway. It was great. And it's just, yeah, just another incredible vehicle that I really love. As you'll notice a trend, I love Honda. Honda and Acura are my bread and butter, but that's besides the point. Taking a stab in the dark here. If I'm not importing it, so I'm going to give two prices here. We might just get one from Kelly Blue Book because I don't think Kelly Blue Book will account for imported cars, imported JDM cars. So it's going to be US sold only. So whatever Type R or whatever version that was closest to the Type R is sold in the US. Whatever EK is closest sold to the US, I'd say about 15,000 right now for a US sold Honda Civic EK. I'd say for about what did I say? 14,000. 14,000. Now, for the price for an imported one, we might not be able to find the price, but I believe the price for an imported one would run you about $33,000 to $40,000, anywhere between that range, like 30 to 33, all the way at the high end of $40,000, depending on who's the importer, who's bringing it in, how low the miles, what's the quality. Any kind of importer is going to charge like a little bit more, even though they get it from Japan for like maybe 10, 11,000. those importing fees could get pretty high. So as far as the US sold one, the actual price is, wow, a lot less than I thought. So actually 20,000 US, signed, sealed, delivered, sight on scene purchase for an EK9 Type R, right-hand drive, imported directly from Japan, $20,000. That's great. That's actually right smack dab in the middle of what I thought for a US market built car and for a Japanese market built vehicle that you would have to import, which is news to me, and honestly great news to me, because I love looking at what could possibly be imported, what kind of vehicle I could possibly get. I have friends and other people in the community who have bought Toyota Chasers, S15s, other 240 models, and it costs a lot. Like, even just bringing like an RB20 engine for an S15 is difficult. And let alone importing like a 2JZ for your right-hand drive MK4 Supra, a lot, like upwards of $50,000 all the way to $100,000 for some people just to get it all the parts in. So 20,000, honestly, like if I was in the market right now, I'd do it right now. I would start building the dream car garage right now for 20,000. That's right around where my Acura TSX cost me. So that sounds like a great deal. If I could finance that, we could figure out how to get that for the channel. That'd be fantastic. All right, so now we're on the 2014 Civic Si. Now this is a very specific distinction. I forgot to make this distinction, and Kevin's gonna yell at me and beat me with a stick, but it's the coupe. Specifically, the orange coupe, and I know you know what I'm talking about. The orange 2014 Civic coupe, it was a specialty mixed color from Honda for that year alone. I don't know of another year that had this particular model color. It was like a special edition color or some kind of anniversary edition color that came out. And I know that the dealers know this. I know that the people who are selling it know that this is a limited color, and they know that this is more coveted than the rest. So here's what it looks like right here. This is gonna be a little bit more. So now your average 2014 Honda Civic Si will cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. I know that for a fact because I've always been in the market for one. I've never not been actively looking for one that's a good deal. And those are the best deals. They're not a good deal, but those are the best deals that I've seen, which is from, like I said, from 16,000 to 20,000. And that's for something with over 80,000 miles. In my book, that's not really a fair trade. I think that I should really get one for 11 to 12 if I'm gonna be getting one with 80 to 90,000 miles, but that's just me. And for this color, I know that I'm bargaining with no leverage because they know that you want this color because you want this color, not just because, oh, this is the color they had. So, let's stop playing ourselves. So as I said, my estimated cost would be about between 16 and 20,000. The actual cost for the Honda Civic, not the color I'm looking at, but for any 2014 Honda Civic Si would be coupe, would be about $14,000. So that, and in my mind, that is a fair trade. That is a fairly priced vehicle. They're traditionally on the lower side. They're pretty close to 100,000 miles, but they're traditionally on the lower side, being that it's almost a 10-year-old vehicle. That could be expected. With this particular car, that orange, I've always loved that car. That car came out a year after I graduated. I was already in college, and I was looking at what my first car would be. I ended up getting a 95 Integra, not as my first car, but as the car that I bought first for college. But what I really wanted at that time, it was kind of like the one who got away, the girl who got away, the one that you're like, oh, well, we had chemistry, but it just never worked out. The orange 2014 Honda Civic Si is the one the one who got away, the fish who swam and just kept swimming, the Dory of your story, if you will. But for the normal one, it's 14,000. For the orange one, we're trying to find one for sale. So I'm still kind of on the money with this. Is the 15,000 for a salvage title of that orange color. So that would mean that anything that has a clean title and no frame damage, all that good stuff, clean papers, unfortunately going to be 20,000 and above, which I just don't think is reasonable for the car. Obviously, in this fictional scenario where I'm building my dream car garage, let's just call it 20,000. That's what we'll be throwing on the roster. 20,000 sold 20,000 for the 2014 Honda Civic Si orange sunburst, or whatever it is, starburst orange, Skittles orange, whatever it is. All right, so that's all the time we have for today. Unfortunately, we didn't even get through the first half of the first list for the Dream Car Garage, but I'm already frightened because we're already at 102 $1,000 and some change for the Dream Car Garage as it stands now. And that's only for 6 cars. I have so many other cars that I have like a genuine attachment to, or that like I genuinely just have like a feeling of like wanting to own or wanting to purchase, or at least just wanting to drive. So we're definitely I'm really not expected this. I'm really not in for what's really going to happen, because that's only 6 cars deep. I thought if we did the full list that I had today, we would at least be at 100,000 with that full list. But at 6 cars, only half the list, we're at 100,000. So stick with us, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep telling me how much of an idiot I am that I shouldn't own a car if I don't know how cars work. This comment right here, this guy, this is a great guy. But you know, keep at it with us. We're excited. I'm very excited. I don't know about Kevin. He could care less, but I'm excited to see how expensive this gets. I really am. But we'll see you guys in part 2. Really excited about part 2. We'll see you later.